somewhere along the lines, we decided that food should not be something that we need to wait for. And that's the reason food is shit. People don't want to pay the money for good food anymore. They want to be full for no money. They want to be fed in no time. They want to have the flavors they want to have with none of the calories that come with the flavor. There's a reason why food is shit and the people who make food are even shittier. 晚上好，欢迎来到下班后的喜鹊派。I made the terrible mistake of accidentally happening upon the Pixar short film Bao last night. It was this anger, fueled by racism and misunderstanding, that made me think, fuck, I could really go for some balza. Today, I thought I'd take the opportunity to cook for the colleagues, the crew, the friends, the fam, and also walk you guys through a northern favorite. It is a quintessential food that is one of those rare instances where you, your mom, and your grandparents can speak on equal footing about a food that has stood the test of time and gone unmutated or besmirched by the passing of trends. So, today we're gonna make balza. All right. Before we go into the actual who, what, when, where, how of the fillings, let's walk you through the dough, because it's actually the easiest part. The recipe is 3250. If you're that white guy from San Francisco, feel free to ask in the comments why that's marginally funny. 250 each of cake flour or low protein flour or T35, 250 of strong flour or bread flour or T65. Or just feel free to use pastry flour or all-purpose flour. And then you want 250 of lukewarm water. So equal portions of high protein flour, low protein flour, and lukewarm water. Put in a pinch, or if you really want a measurement, 5 grams of yeast and 25 grams of sugar if you want a little bit of sweetness, which is traditional, or not. Up to you, I don't really give a shit. You want to mix that on a low speed for about 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a window pane, it just has to be a cohesive ball of dough. Put a cap on it and let it rest until it doubles in size, at which point it is ready for punching down and dividing. Let's get into how to make the fillings, starting from the top. As a northerner, the first thing that we think about is actually a lot of vegetable-driven fillings, which is a huge, huge surprise to a lot of people, even in this country. For those of you who don't understand, the North is culturally the same as the American South. A huge misunderstanding about the American South is that people think it's meat-driven. You think brisket, you think hot links, you think smoked chicken, you think pulled this and baby back that. But really, most of the cuisine is vegetable-driven because a lot of the South was broke. It's just those select few dishes that mutated into the hallmarks of Southern American cuisine, to my humble understanding. In the northeast of China, it is the exact same story. Most of our childhood favorites are vegetable-driven or vegetarian. So, with that being said, I'm going to start with our favorite filling, 西葫芦鸡蛋. 西葫芦 directly translates into Western gourd, which is our word for courgette or zucchini. It is mixed with a scrambled egg, and it's also seasoned with a little bit of dried shrimp. Grate it down. You can use a grater or a knife. Hit it with some salt. If you really want a measurement, maybe 1% by weight of zucchini, smush it around until the liquid comes out. Squeeze the living daylights out of it, but reserve some of the water because we're going to use it to stretch out our egg. The zucchini, when dry, can be left inside the bowl. Remember, this is a filling driven by vegetables, which probably means it was made by poor people, which also means that we have to find a way to stretch our food out. Zucchini water will be used to thin out the egg and also season it at the same time. Take your egg mixture, put it in a pan, put a lot of fucking oil in the pan, because remember, oil is a texture and a flavor in a lot of Chinese dough foods. We love to use a lot of neutral oil to provide silkiness to otherwise not very impressive ingredients, let's be honest. Don't fucking start scrambling it. Don't fucking touch it, just scrape it in from the sides like an American-style scrambled egg. You want big, fluffy curds, yeah? Once it's 80% cooked, dump it out onto a tray, reserve it till it cools down, do it with the rest of your egg. After it relatively cools down, you can chop it into big chunks, throw it into your gourd, and mix it about. Why I recommend you using shrimp skins, because it'll soak up the extra liquid in the filling and make it more cohesive when it comes time to fill it. Moving on to 豆角 and 粉条. Take your runner beans, blanch them until they're tender. Leave or retain as much texture or as little as you want. Take them out, shock them if you so wish. If you don't care about the green or the crunchiness, then don't shock them, just let them cool naturally. Chop those into tiny little pieces. Chop up your rehydrated cellophane noodles into strips. Chop up your woodier mushrooms, because that's part of the filling and I really like the texture. And then mix that in with your broad beans. Now in another pan separately, you want to color off your ground pork. Shiitake mushroom. Use a little bit of neutral oil and a little bit of sesame oil. After it's got a little bit of color on it, deglaze with a little bit of soy sauce. I used white soy because I like the clear colors. Once your filling is deglazed, scrape it out into a bowl, make sure it's a nice even mix. You're pretty much done. On to the meat. Another heavy hitter in the north when you think of meat balls is 牛肉 or 牛肉香菇. Ground beef, seasoned heavily and mixed in with reconstituted dry shiitake mushrooms. It's a very, very simple filling. You can season it with the alliums or aromatics of your choice. The typical ones would be 5-spice powder, Chinese leek, and ginger. A little bit of light soy, a little bit of dark soy, just for color. The classic sentence of every Asian cook. Bind it together with a little bit of cornstarch, if you so wish, if you like that texture. If you like loose and mealy instead of a puck, leave the cornstarch out. And spike it with as much or as little reconstituted dry shiitake mushrooms as you so wish. If your beef was a little bit dry, reserve some of the liquid you used to reconstitute your shiitake mushrooms with to wet the filling down. And beat the living crap out of it. And the mechanical intervention of your hand molesting the filling will also make it a little bit sticky. This repeats itself, this theme, in a lot of Chinese meat dough foods. Moving on to xinyo, something that I had when I was a kid in Shanghai. Baozi are not popular in Shanghai. Shanghainese call everything mantou. 三鸡母的, 手龙母的. Mantou means steamed bun with nothing in it, which is the wrong word for the wrong food. It's just pork flavored with scallions, ginger, salt, sugar, sesame oil, a little bit of chicken powder, and a little bit of Shaoxing cooking wine. And you're pretty much done. That is the symphony of river food. You want your pork to still be the color of ground pork. If people see color in their food near the riverlands, they'll be, well, they won't get angry. They're not capable of being angry. They'll just get really passive aggressive at you. The mentality of river people seasoning is gentle, soft-spoken, and reserved, as the river people pretend to be. As in, if you didn't tell someone there was ginger in there, they wouldn't know there was ginger in there. But they would be able to taste something's not right because you didn't put ginger in there. You know how they are. They're cunts. I love them to bits, but they're cunty. Anyways, when it comes to the aromatics of these fillings, feel free to add whatever powder you like. I use a symphony of white pepper and 5-spice. I'm not going to give you which goes where or how much to use because that's entirely up to you. You make your own decisions. Okay, moving on to the construction. Intelligently, we already got all of our inserts earlier during service, so I can just work and talk to you at the same time. All right. The fuck kind of shirts did you grow up with? You just say shit for the sake of saying shit? All right, Wednesday. So, I'm gonna knock this dough down into halves and then into balls again. But first I wanna get a nice big dough weight. Now, once again, feel free to not fucking do this, by the way. It's not really important. I'm only doing this because I want to have a nice, even and uniform baozi as a finished end product because this is going in the freezer as soon as I'm done and it's going to be our rainy day fund for in case we're busy and don't have time to make staff meal. I want to make sure that my boys are eating right. So 80-gram dough balls will give you 8 to 10 centimeter baozi. Generally speaking, it's 10 grams of dough per centimeter of diameter you want. Do not fucking quote me on that. That is not a technical measurement. It's just what I've found to be the case throughout my years of making food. 是, hold on. When you say 馒头, what do you mean? You are Shanghainese. Clarify. 你看，我跟你说吧, it's so fucking tiring that I have to translate between these two cunts. No, not really. 因为南方本质上就对包子没有什么很大的情怀吧，儿时。
南方的馒头包子啊。
Now you've confused yourself, you poor old goat. 南方的馒头倒是真的比北方的馒头小。我们的馒头是那么大，一个拳头是一个馒头，至少。 山东那边的话，一个馒头2个拳头是一个馒头，炝面馒头。南方馒头就是不是炸就蒸的是小的嘛，蘸炼乳啊这些东西嘛，对不对 ？Alright, so if you do not have the speed to work with your dough quickly enough that it won't dry out on the surface, feel free to keep a little squirt bottle of water handy. This is a trick that bakers use to buy themselves some time when rounding their dough balls off. The rolling of the skins is very similar to dumplings. Once you have these dough balls, feel free to go at it. Now, looking at our previous video of the technique is simple. Once again, you take a dough, you flatten it out with your palm, you stick your offhand underneath the dough with your middle finger right in the middle. You roll up to your middle finger, then you turn 45 to 90 degrees, and you roll in again with your rolling pin up to your middle finger. This creates a dough that is flat on the outside and fat in the middle, like a reverse pizza dough. Grab your skin, put in a mound of filling around half the diameter of your skin. In your offhand, like this, lift up with your index finger into your thumb, and you want to send dough into your thumb to pinch between your dominant hand thumb and index finger. Once you reach the end, twist your thumb in and link it up to your first fold and pinch, and that's what creates this little hole in the middle. Anyways, this is a baozi. Traditionally speaking, you can leave a little hole in the top to see the filling inside, but if it's a very proofy dough, that hole might close up in steaming. Feel free to not close it up. It actually looks kind of cute. Little butthole, yeah? Now, traditionally speaking, and only traditionally speaking, there should be 19 folds in the skin of your baozi. But honestly, who gives a shit? Now, when it comes to these folds, do as many or as few as you so wish. It doesn't matter that much. The only other tip I can give you is don't be stressed out about having all the dough in between your dominant hand, index, and thumb. You don't need to. You just need to maintain a consistent amount of dough throughout the process. It will slip out the back of your thumb. So as I'm pinching like this, dough is leaving my thumb over here. But I'm holding on a little bit and creating stretch, which is what gives it that spiral effect.
What about Pixar?
Nobody fucking makes baozi in the morning, fresh for their husband or child before work or school. You get a few kwai and you buy it from the old man down the street. Or you make it as a family gathering in the night so that you can use it as a freezer stash of snacks for the next time your parents or grandparents don't want to cook. Like, it's kind of like those breakfast recipes, right? Where a chef says, let me teach you an easy 3-step breakfast sandwich. First, caramelize your onions. That fucked. I'm not waking up at 5 in the morning to caramelize onions. You guys don't cook very much at home. Nobody cooks at home unless they're a Shanghainese man or a very traditionally minded mainlander. Our generation of people no longer cook at home. It's why our takeout is so much light years ahead of the West. It's because we don't fucking cook anymore. Nor do we really have to, if we're being perfectly honest. Like, in the major cities of China, it is literally cheaper to eat out than it is to cook at home. Especially if you don't know what you're doing. So I get it. Like, there's a reason why in our Chinese content on Bilibili, I don't really recommend people cook for the purposes of saving money or that you should cook at home or blah, 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 blah. I recommend it because, yeah, maybe the quality is better because there's a lot of untrustworthy food in China. But it's not a financial decision because to cook at home is fucking expensive in China. People don't want to pay the money for good food anymore. They want to be full for no money. They want to be fed in no time. They want to have the flavors they want to have with none of the calories that come with the flavor. There's a reason why food is shit and the people who make food are even shittier. If I keep on bullshitting, we're not going to get this done. So give me a few minutes to fucking bang these out. I'm from the north, so it won't take long. And come back in a few minutes, okay? See, those are the here's one I made earliers. Yeah? Only it's now instead of earlier. Actually, no, 4 of those are earlier. The rest, 8 of those are earlier. The rest of them are literally just now. I know. People in the crowd are going to be like, you had all this help. Nobody in the restaurant. And everybody else doesn't know how to cook. I'm with a Shanghainese woman and a Cantonese person holding the camera. So trust me when I say I had 0 help. In fact, they just kind of made it worse.
没人会饱头。
Yeah， 你这个说到点子上了，这是一个让我很心酸的东西。Imagine being in your later years when you are alone in this world. And by alone, I mean there's a flavor that exists in this universe that you know that no one can help you with anymore. That was the driving force that taught a lot of our forebears in the previous generation to make 饺子、包子、烧麦、馅儿饼、小笼包、馒头, whatever. Beyond the bonding and the family exercise, it was the idea that in one way or another, you could always have the flavor that you have that drug addiction of a craving for. Because there will be that one day where everybody who knows how to make it is no longer with us. And you don't want to be alone in this world without the ability to make that flavor happen again. You owe it to yourself. And unfortunately, a lot of the young Northerners in my kitchen were never forced to do this as kids, that just don't enforce a good tradition of cooking anymore. That's really one of the reasons why I believe every good Chinese person, whether you're from Singapore or Taiwan, and don't start my argument, you can be both at the same time. Or if you're from Europe or North America, from San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, doesn't matter where you're from, if you have this set of skin and these features, you owe it to yourself to come back home someday and be acquainted, if not once again, then for the first time, with some of the flavors that give you some company in your lonelier hours. All right, so I have a beautiful flat of food here. These are ones that we made earlier that we froze. Anyways, so I just want to prove that frozen baozi also works. These are 冻得当当的, yeah? I'm going to show you that they're capable of being flashed from frozen. If you are steaming fresh, I recommend that you start in already boiling steamer basket. If you are starting from frozen, I recommend that you start in a cold steamer basket and bring the temperature up together. You want to set a timer for about 15 minutes. I'll see you then. And we're back in the action. Ready for this? Bop! Look at how pretty those are. From completely frozen, absolutely stunning. Which one do you want?
I want the fresh meat baozi.
鲜肉. Oh my god. I'm done. I'm done. I've just never heard it translated as fresh meat. There you go. That's for you. Your fresh meat. No. No. You know? As with anybody who's ever had baozi growing up, the best part is the dough that has meat juices in it. It's not the meat itself. Everybody has their own ritual. I share this with a lot of people. Not everybody, but a lot of people. I used to just eat a round and then leave a little meatball at the end for myself. I still eat the meatball. Because you made these yourself, you get to control how much filling goes in there. If you buy these outside, you get like this one little pinky full of meat and a big loaf of bread on the outside. This, you can make this as generous or as skimpy as you want. It's your choice.
Anyways.
I miss my dad.
So what's his favorite? Silence.
Oh, I don't actually know, to be honest. I don't think he really cared about what was inside. I think he just liked the process. I'm not that generous. I still like the food. Let's wrap up and get out of here. Cool. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share, do whatever the hell you want with this information. Hopefully it's useful or at least interesting to you. I'm glad I got it. At least I'm happy I got a chance to share. Have fun, guys. I'll see you around. Take care.